Give it a few minutes. I know a few other people intended to join. I suppose we should go ahead and get started, and if people roll in late, that's cool too. Let's see. We have an agenda and 2 items on the agenda so far. I believe, Jen, you put the first item up there. You wanna start?
I can start a little bit. I think I'll probably make this quick and then see if maybe revisit it after if Michaela is able to join, because I'm sure she can give a little bit more context than I can. But here, let me just share a quick moment. Screen. So the item that I put on the agenda is about shared responsibility model workflows. This is something that we've been working through on an issue on the OSCAL repository. Here on my screen, the issue number is 2012, as you can see. And something that we were looking to get some feedback on from the group is this graphic in particular in the workflow that's depicted here. I'll have probably a little bit more context on what this actually looks like in terms of like OSCAL models after this week, because I'm working on some SRM examples and updating it per this graphic. So I hope to have that finished tomorrow, and then I could share with Michaela and the group for feedback. So I just wanted to bring it to everyone's attention. There was one item in particular that is up for discussion, and that's whether SSP should be transformed into component definitions or consumption when you're going from SSP to SSP. So just wanted to kind of like lay that out there, and then if you guys have any questions or if you want to discuss it a bit more, we can. And if you want to wait until next time when I have more details, then we can do that too. So.
Just to clarify, when you say creating component definitions from the SSP, that would be useful in cases where like the inheriting system can't access the full SSP. And so instead they would get that component definition
This would actually be when the inheriting system can access the SSP. So that's actually the option that we were talking about, is would the system take the SSP and then transfer all the information to the new SSP, or would it be easier to break that down into component definitions? Say you're an infrastructure deployer and you have your IaaS with a set of services and you only want specific services in your SSP that's consuming. So that might be a scenario where you would want a component definition where you can just pick and choose a single service.
Got it.
I made it. I apologize for being late to this conversation. I figured out it was a problem on my end by not being logged with a proper account.
Okay.
On the browser. Yeah.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah. So, is there anything that I need to recap on this diagram, or is the conversation? And I also wanted to add another topic of discussion, which I found very interesting. It's related to an issue that was recently open on our GitHub repository, but I would like to finish with this one first. If there is anything I can do to assist with where we are, what is, do we think that this is all good, or?
So, Michaela, before you jumped in, I shared that I'm almost done with updating the examples. I have I'm working on Agency 1 SSP4 example right now. So I've worked through all of the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
And so
awesome.
my plan was to kind of share back with you, share back with the group, make sure I didn't misinterpret or misrepresent the graphic in any way. There was another one, I think Robert had brought up a good example of where a SaaS service might fit in here. So I thought, if we finish it from the IaaS point of view, the PaaS point of view, and we all agree, maybe we tackle that one next, just to make sure we're not missing anything. But yeah, I think that's where we are. And hopefully after we have some examples to all look at, it'll be a little bit easier to collaborate and get down into the details.
I wasn't 100% sure now from my I'm speaking from my memory right now, that I got that I'm very accurate with myself on what Rob was trying to convey there. So that's why we had a little bit of back and forth, just to make sure that we align and understand each other. So I can go and review that. I thought that he did not get the diagram from the beginning, but the idea was, do we have with the current models, with the shared responsibility model, something that will allow a cloud service provider to submit a package to FedRAMP? That package submitted to FedRAMP, once is assessed and authorized and available on the marketplace, does it give you all the necessary information for an agency to deploy that particular service? And then for another cloud service provider to build on top of that infrastructure, I use that as an example. And what will be the models that are used? And then when you have that cloud service provider that is stacked on top, do they have enough information? Go to the diagram to the left, to be acquired and be deployed by a customer of theirs. So that's the left side, is the Agency 2 SSP. And then if we are on the right side and an agency already deployed that infrastructure, but they are building internally for them or for others another layer on top, like another system on top of that, is there enough information? What will be the models? Because the difference between those scenarios are essential, in the sense that the package submitted to FedRAMP is not a fully deployed system. It's information that can be leveraged. So the tricky part there is the distinction between a system security plan, even though they are collecting system security plans, a system security plan that is for a system that is deployed, versus a component definition that says, get my component, secure it like this. This is how you are going to use it. This is what you get in terms of the controls that are implemented if you are doing that. And when you think of that agency number one, the SSP3, at the bottom corner right, as we look at the screen, that is NIST, say, that is deploying under our own account AWS. Well, when we're doing that, we have a lot of customer responsibilities to complete that deployment under our account. Do we have the information to convey with OSCAL that data? And how is that best to do? Then that's why there are two options in there, because an agency will get access to the SSP that FedRAMP has. So they're building their own SSP, but it might not allow the agency one SSP4 to have visibility, because it might have another system owner, even though it's the same organization. Different responsibilities. Here in this, they are structured with, there is one division for infrastructure and another division for software. So you can think that the SSP4, it's actually software division that is deploying something on top of my infrastructure division that provision for us cloud services. They don't see each other completely, or they might. So is the SRM a good option? Is the transparent SSP a good option? Is the entire information available there? Can that be traversed for an assessor that has the right to see the entire stack and get the information? In terms of inherited controls, responsibility for the ones that are inheriting, and controls that are local controls that have responsibilities. And the idea of when we get package from FedRAMP, we get access to the SSP as a government. And I'm looking at our assessors, and then they have to go in and cherry pick and figure out what are the controls for a particular service. That, because we don't get all services at once. So they are building their own system security plan from different, by cherry picking services as components into our own infrastructure. When they are doing that, what's the best mechanism? Is the best mechanism just access to the SSP, copy and paste? Not really, because how are we going to represent that in there to for the FedRAMP package? The FedRAMP package, what is going to have in there? How do we represent that customer responsibility to make a clear distinction between a control that will be completed when it's deployed under your account versus a control that is inheritable by the SSP4 and the responsibility to complete that? So did I miss something in this entire scenario? So that's the reason when I said that I don't know if Robert and I were on the same page completely, because I had the SSP4 as the software vision. But I don't know if we need to do more.
Yeah, the part I read about where maybe it diverged is he was discussing like granularity of components, and maybe if you're consuming a SaaS, you can't really break it down. Like you can't choose a component, you would have to take it as a whole or not. That's kind of what I read.
That's not true, because if a package is submitted to FedRAMP, if we're looking at that, you might have under that, it's a logical system, right? Because they put everything under one package, a cloud service provider. You might have several software as a services in there, and you want to deploy several of them. I hear sometimes my colleagues here on the operational side that it says, when we are building a system, we actually create a multi-cloud, which are complicating even more my scenarios here. So we will have a Google component for our infrastructure, and we'll have an AWS component for our infrastructure, and they will have to work together because we put them in one system. I didn't even get there, with my logic, because my head started pounding. just thinking of that, but that's what they were asking. So if you have software as a service, your software as a service can have components. I have a pilot today that is a blockchain software assets management, is an application that can be used, but it has in there a Cognito, it has an EC2, it has storage, it has a lot of other components. It's a software, but has components. It's not a one thing, because a system doesn't have just one application. He's talking applications. Applications don't get authorized because they're not systems. They have a system underneath, right? They run somewhere.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. That makes sense to me.
Who is unknown, if I may ask?
This is Lou. I'm unknown today.
Okay, we know you. So no matter how how hard you are trying to hide you.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited, and I really hope that we'll get to finalize this too with the examples and declare victory, so we can push it and release it. I'm slowly moving towards that target because I got on my lap the Metaschema project, which open, and the CLI tool and other things, so that I need to maintain with the team. And actually they're looking at me to do that because they pass on all the admin rights to me. And thank you, Jay. David is awesome, and whenever he has a little bit more time, I'm going to abuse his time a little bit more. It was very beneficial, and actually a very interesting collaboration, because he's very good with CI/CD pipeline and actions, but he was struggling with something that I thought it was an interesting bug. It was failing all the time on validating links, and he thought that the application has an issue, and it might have an issue. But I told him that I realized that pattern. I saw that pattern before, and we just fixed the order and the things that the files were piped into, and that fixed it. So my experience with knocking my head on the same error multiple times and trying to figure out from the code and him, I said, oh, let's do it. So it was very, very fast and nice collaboration. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. He mentioned in our stand-up this morning that he was going to be contributing some more time.
Thank you. Yes, he offered, and I told him whenever he has, I want to look at some other things and be able to figure them out and be able to move them forward. Yes.
We have another team member, Sophia, who one of her passions is CI/CD, and I think he's going to try and loop her in to get involved as well.
Excellent. Yeah. He mentioned to me that Nectos act, and I'm going to install it to try to run some of those actions locally. For me, a little bit, the stressful part is because some of them are only running when is the deployment the final, and if they're failing, not just being new admin to those projects, I don't want to do something that is really damaging, especially when there are a lot of updates, and some of those dependencies can be very tricky, can break a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
I've been faced with that, so that's why I'm always very cautious.
Makes sense.
And Ryan, nice seeing you here.
Yeah, I try to pop up pretty much anywhere that we're talking about OSCAL these days.
That's good. Yeah.
Jen, should we
I'm
move
ready
on?
to go to the other topic whenever you guys are.
Okay.
Because it's interesting and it's burning. To me, at least.
So I would like, I think it's important for us to be able to complete the GitHub issue. So for people, we have a GitHub issue, which is a proposal for this to be an official, what they call project or effort. Might make more sense. But in CNCF, they would call this a project. So, and that GitHub issue is a proposal back to the security tag for them to, stamp approval on. Yes, this will be a official CNCF thing. So we're
Is there
trying to-
anything that I can do to help?
I think today what I'm hoping for, and we have new people and the people that have been participating. I think they're having some life and work events that are causing friction for them to attend. So a little disjointed on that, but yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, I had linked to it in the. No.
And I need to sign in also. No, the link that I put is the one that I prepared to discuss.
Oh, that's another one to discuss. Okay.
Mhm.
Oh yeah. This is the issue that we need to kind of wrap up. And so where the situation that is in right now is just a draft, and there's parts of it that still need to be filled in. And I think also some of the wording that's already there might need to be adjusted based on the discussions that have happened thus far. Anybody that wants to go back and see previous meetings, it all gets recorded and put on a YouTube channel, which is also bookmarked in the Slack channel. So previous sessions we've kind of driven towards been coalescing on let's make work product outputs from this project to be added to the GitHub issue to be cloud events. And the cloud events would be of exchanges of data that are described in that Miro dashboard. Also publish that Miro dashboard in whatever format is the right format. I'm going to assume, PDF, or maybe SVG, maybe both. And then also some documentation just around all of that so that people understand what it is that we're providing, why we're providing it, and how to make use of it. Yep.
I have a question related to this. Does it make sense to have pages? Since it's GitHub based, give some external visibility through website pages that are driven from the information or things that we're doing here.
Yes, I think the way CNCF does this is the documentation that we would provide would be in the form of GitHub pages in the security tag repo. At least that's the way I've seen output of documentation form from other projects from security tag.
And there's no way that, starting from the top from there with the security tag to start being able to navigate more. I mean, maybe we can create our own subset of pages if you want. That can be pulled in, where you have, some wikis can pulled in, that have some flow in there, some other kind of details in addition to the regular that are the default contributions and so on.
So I think the output is negotiable. And so at this time, I'm just trying to, and we get a draft of it together that we feel comfortable enough, because for the next stage, comfortable enough for going to a tag, I keep saying it the other way around, a tag security meeting, where we can present this. And that's where we get the stamp of approval. And there might be some back and forth in that meeting to give us guidance or options for what you were asking questions about, Mikhail. Like, can we have some here and some there? Like, what makes the best sense so that we can get the
So only examples and data generated as of interest, or maybe does it have a research component?
I think the output that we're looking for at the moment is like to define the norms. So there could be research. I think there would be research involved to define the norms that we would express as cloud events.
Yeah, I was asking the opposite direction, meaning that can different type of research projects be part of this activity?
Tell me
And
more.
let me get to to tell you more.
Yeah.
So the issue that I put in there, 2039, is an issue that goes open on our OSCAL website, and the intent and what it brings forward is the open telemetry. Is there an integration with open telemetry? I don't know much. I read a little bit, but it's extremely interesting because I think that that could be something that Anka and the team was looking at length of with the rules, and how do you get the rules and the test and collecting all that information. So if we have the ability, because open telemetry is CNCF, right? It has been defined by the ability to get the expertise to see how can we use open telemetry on the assessment layer to pass on what you need to look and collect, what is the evidence, what are the things that you need to run, and then provide using that as the protocol, then I think that will be absolutely amazing. I raised that on FedRAM's call. They did not know much, but then AJ came back and said, oh, I know a lot. And there's a lot of conversation on that issue that he got involved because at personal level, he wanted that. Him and I were years back when OSCAL was not mature enough on a pilot where we used InSpec for similar things to report on the findings, the assessment, and so on. And we knew that there is a need on getting inputs in InSpec, and we worked with project leads to reopen that issue and have support for that, because otherwise you cannot just start from the bottom and expect to match, right? You have to, if you have documentation, you have something that says, this is what I'm expecting, this is what I like to test, to be able to take those rules and run the checks and collect the evidence and do the reports, because it's able to report on logging, it's able to report on evidence, right? And so can we do that? That's what I'm asking.
John, I'm so bad with pronunciations. John Zola? Yeah. He had in a earlier meeting for this asked a similar, like, hey, can we find one or more CNCF projects that would be willing to collaborate with us to like exercise what we're proposing, so that we're not just making a lot of hand wavy stuff, which can be useful, but actually, like, we get to implement it, we get to show it, we get to demonstrate it, prove it over here with this other CNCF project. So,
and I think that this it might become instrumental even for FedRAM, because in the past FedRAM had to manage 21 formats of logs that they will have to review for the assessment. Well, if we are able to provide and integrate with OTEL, with open telemetry, and say, hey, this is a way of passing on and collecting, and this is how it works, I think that it will be amazing, because they are cloud-based. They are looking at cloud. The same is going to be probably with the other project that I know of, like Cloud Security Alliance or Cobalt and Emerald pilots in Europe that are also cloud-based.
So yes. Did that sound
that's
like
why I put that? That's why I was so excited, and I jumped and said, "Can we have a research component there, not just data collection?"
Yes.
And that's a CNCF project, right? So we can collaborate with them on that, and then we can take it to NIST to standardize it.
Thumbs up.
To integrate. And we can do the process that we have in place in terms of the research, like the spiral. Is this initial proposal? Do examples, which is something that we are doing here too. Validate with the community and go the second spiral. Maybe do even a proof of concept, small one. And any feedback on that issue is welcome, because I'm trying to raise that to the community as an important item to get them to collaborate on that. Because internally, at least, I don't have that resources or the knowledge. So right away, I might have it tomorrow, but if we want it sooner, can we do it?
Mhm.
Can this be the next prototype?
Yeah.
What do we need for that? And so on.
So if I hear, also it's kind of unfair, you guys have just joined, but I hear no dissents so far, and this is what I could draw up and adjust the GitHub issue enough, and then like in the asynchronously give people time to review it, and in the next meeting, we can all discuss it, and if we're comfortable, I can put us in for the next tax security meeting.
And Jay, I just added an issue in the chat just to show that I don't think open telemetry necessarily means that cloud events is out of the picture. I think it's actually part of it. And I think there was discussion around compatibility between those two things. So I'm excited. I don't think this changes it too much. I think it adds to it. So.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Floor is open. I'm going to go ahead and steal the mic, though. But maybe really, I'm just kind of trying to pass it to Jen. Hey, Jen, that conversation we had last time with Michaela was really interesting. Did you have any follow-up items or questions?
Oh, I don't have any prepared. I did, one of the things that I think I would be able to do is I did create a frame, a diagram around what I kind of took away from the conversation. And I think that's something I could probably add to the Miro if you think that's a good idea, or if the group thinks it's a good idea, just to kind of add to it a bit more, because it was more like technical workflow based. So I think, and it actually could encompass the collection that is on this OSCAL issue. I think maybe help talk about it a bit more.
Yeah.
And what I was wondering, is there a place where we can put that mirror link that it's safe somewhere on the project, if it's related to the project? Is it possible? Because anytime my computer is rebooting, I lose it and I need to go back and find it.
Yeah,
Sometimes takes forever, and sometimes I don't control when they reboot it. When they have a fix, they will just push it.
Mm-hmm. I will. You mean like in the Slack channel?
Slack or somewhere on GitHub somewhere. I mean, if we have, it doesn't have wiki, for example, the project, but we can have things like a repository of resources on the wiki, a page, right, where I have different important links, or an issue that will capture that, or I don't know, whatever you want. But I was just thinking, and I was selfish in that direction.
Yeah, I
did put a bookmark, but then I had to go and find the bookmark.
Yeah. I can add it to the GitHub issue until we've gotten that stamp of, until we presented to the tag security group and they say, yeah, you're in. We're kind of on our own. So we won't get resources from CNCF until after they stamp us approval. So I'll add it to I added it to as a bookmark in Slack, and I'll also add it to the GitHub issue, and it's in the meeting notes as well. Any other topics for today?
So I'll raise my ignorant hand if I can and
Mhm.
ask, I think two things. One is that, so I'm looking at the description that you have in GitHub for OSCAL norms for multi-project collaboration, and it's abstract, as it should be. But I was wondering if it might be helpful to give a concrete example of where things might go awry, and how that OSCAL norms would help resolve that in concrete terms instead of abstract terms. You know, like there's two catalogs or there's two component definitions and they're not understandable, and this is how we would fix that by agreeing we would do it this way or something like that. My second comment is it also possible that as a result of the things that happen in this project, because OSCAL leaves wiggle room, that things might actually be absorbed from here into OSCAL itself as part of the language? I wonder if that's a beneficial outcome of what this thing might accomplish as well. So those are my two questions / comments.
So in the Slack channel, that GitHub is not easy for people to collaborate on. So it really is this, as I put in the chat here, this Google document where we collaborate. So if you have concrete examples or other suggestions, the doc there is where we can collaborate. So feel free to have at it. And so that was the first part for the concrete. And as I was talking, I lost what you said for the second one. What was the second one again?
If perhaps some of the results of what happened in OSCAL norms might filter down into OSCAL itself.
No, never.
Why is that?
I'm sarcastic.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you for that help there.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was sarcastic on purpose, and I didn't think you would catch it, but I want to have the relationship with you where you do know me enough where you'll catch it, so then we can have more fun. So I got to start somewhere. So
that's fine. That's fine. Thank you.
I'm also excellent at making things awkward. Michaela, I don't think if you're talking, we can't hear you. She's wanting to have fun too. And Lou, to be serious, yes, that has been an intention all along. Yes, now we can hear you.
Okay. Oh, my headset decided I had enough today. Both of them. So what I was trying to say, I think that what Lou brings up is very important, because while we are an open public project and always happy to receive feedback and work with the community, I don't know how CNCF perceives that, to get work that is developed here to come back as feedback and be materialized at this. So it's good to have it maybe in writing for review, that this can result into changes, enhancements, especially on the research side. Because if CNCF says, no, we are going to keep it here, it's going to be our special thing.
I doubt that. Yeah. I really thought unknown was going to be the quiet lurker, but it turns out it was Ryan, so I would have lost that bet. Anybody? We all talked out? All right.
I added an action item for myself, by the way, Jay, to add the diagram. So maybe next time we can go over that and the issue that Michaela shared and maybe see how they intersect.
Okay. Excellent. Michaela, were you? I saw your mouth moving, but you're on mute. Was that talking to yourself or us? Oh, she can't hear us even. Do we end the meeting? Nope. You're off mute now, but we can't hear you. Nope. 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 I mean, I can see you're saying can. I can read your lips. So
Yeah,
wait, now I think I heard you. Oh, wait a minute. I hear me.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Thumbs up. Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Good. Well, it needs to run across the internet to go by, I don't know, another Russian, Chinese, and then the signal gets there. So I was saying that I need to put my name on the attended list, and I was looking for the link. If I can get some help with that, I would appreciate it. Thank you. Or Jen can always put me, you know. Yeah. Perfect. Oh, I'm here. Thank you.
No, I'm on mute. Good meeting as always. I'll see you guys next time.